Welcome to the Hustler's Handbook podcast. I'm Easton. In this show, we explore the stories of relentless go-getters, uncovering the secrets behind their success. We talk life, work, and everything in between. The highs, the lows, and the grit it takes to keep pushing forward. Tune in and get inspired right here on the Hustler's Handbook podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Hustler's Handbook podcast. I'm your host, Easton Johnson. Today's guest is Noah Garoutte, one of the owners of Forum Social House. Noah's passion for the entertainment and hospitality industry has driven him to excel in his current role. With a commitment to creating amazing experiences, Noah brings a wealth of knowledge and enthusiasm to the industry. Thank you for being a guest, Noah, and welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate it.
Most definitely. So can you just share a little bit about your journey in the entertainment industry and hospitality and what got you into those fields?
Yeah, of course, man. So I started in hospitality, food and beverage when I was really young. I used to live in Springfield, Oregon. That was probably the first place that it started. So I was just a buster at 16 years old, mopping up vomit from college kids in our local college bar. So that was a cool introduction. And then when I moved out here, I moved out to Seattle area in 2006. And when I moved here, I had some of that experience from my younger years. But when I moved out here, I was doing youth gymnastics coaching. I've been a roofer. I was a barista. So I was just trying a lot of stuff in my early 20s and trying to find what spoke to me and what I was passionate about. And, a little bit about me. I didn't go to college. I'm a high school dropout. So there was no real set path for me. I didn't go get a degree to do something. So I was really feeling it out through work experience. So had a lot of different work experience until I was oddly enough a barista at Starbucks. And then I met who was my current business partner, Roger Eng. We just happened to go to Vegas together with, her name was Mimi. She was someone who worked with me at Starbucks. So we went out there and, got to experience the hospitality of Las Vegas for my first time. And obviously anyone's first time to Vegas, it'll just blow you away, man. Cause it's oh my gosh, everything's 10X. But so I met Roger and we kept that connection going. And then he eventually took over. He actually started in 2009 with a new company that came to the area called Lucky Strike. So he started at Lucky Strike, and then he had to kind of start putting aces in their places and filling holes in that operation. So I got a call from Roger. I think at the time I was a gymnastics coach, but he was like, "Hey, I got this really cool place. It's entertainment. Kind of has some aspects of what we were accustomed to in Vegas." And he's like, I think you'd be a really good fit because you have a lot of background and obviously customer service, food and beverage, stuff like that from our previous years. And so he brought me on as the VIP manager, VIP host to start. And so that's kind of how I got my foot in the door, started learning about cover charges, private events, the entertainment industry, how food and beverage complements the entertainment, whether it be arcade or bowling or whatever. So yeah, that was a big, Roger at that point was my mentor, and thank goodness, we've grown and now he's become my business partner. I couldn't be more blessed to have a better business partner. But yeah, that was kind of the maturation, was finding someone like a Roger who really put me under his wing and taught me everything and took his time to really allow me to evolve and grow instead of, expecting for me to pick everything up on my first day. So I think that was crucial, having someone like him to really kind of, show me the game.
Yeah, that's awesome. Having a mentor so early on and, kind of guide you in the right direction and wants the best for you also. So that's huge in itself.
Absolutely.
What kind of got you into the role of the Forum Social House, and how did that come about?
So Forum was kind of fast forward. So I was Lucky Strike. Then I went over to Q Nightclub. I was at Q Nightclub for a little over 2 years. And there I got a lot of really good experience with, headline DJs, a lot more with the cover charging in, working with promoters and booking agents. So I got that experience after I left there. And the original goal was to open a nightclub in Seattle. So that's what Roger and I's goal was. So oddly enough, we were in, and I love Amir, he's a homie, but we were talking in negotiations about to sign a lease at what is now Stadium. So we're very close. It used to be called 88 Keys. So we're very close to taking over that spot. But we took our time. Amir didn't, and I thank goodness, because he did a great thing over there. I love Stadium. But we were looking all over in Seattle, and that was the goal. Was really, I left Bellevue to build on my Seattle experience so that we could eventually open a nightclub there. That was the grand scheme that we were going to do. And then that, I bounced around a couple of places just to get some of that experience. And then we started hearing through the grapevine that there was a venue that I used to frequent. It was called Parlor. You've been there.
Yeah, yeah,
Used to have comedy, pool hall, really
yeah.
cool space. But from my understanding, they kind of overextended, and they were looking to potentially get out of that lease. And so once
Mm,
I started hearing that through the grapevine, being at Lucky Strike, at Lucky Strike, we're a $7, $8, $9 million venue.
mm,
We knew what the space could do. We knew what that location can do. And so having all that experience, 6, 7 years, my other two partners were there at least 8 or 9. Having that experience, we knew what that downtown Bellevue corridor could generate. And so we're like, yo, if we don't do this, someone else is going to go in there and just crush it. So,
yeah,
like,
most
why
definitely.
not us? And it's scary, obviously. It's 20,000 square feet. Rent is high. You're in one of the top performing malls in America. So that could
Mm,
scare off most people. But I think because we were there, because we were a top 3 performing venue in our company when we were with Lucky Strike, that gave us all the confidence in the world that, we know the area, we know the mall, we know the clientele, we know all the tech and the companies that are doing private events. So that gave us a lot of the confidence to really be like, yo, we can do this. Like, if it
mm,
was, oh, hey, something opened up in, San Diego, like, none of us are from there. We don't know the ebbs and flows. We don't know the rent.
yeah.
So that would be different. But because it was this unique opportunity, like, it was written in the stars, man. And I can't,
Mm.
when I look back, I'm like, man, it's so crazy that it worked out the way it did. But I don't know if it was good karma or what, but man, like, we really found a really great thing there and a great opportunity. And in hindsight, I don't think any other place would have been the perfect scenario like it was there.
That's awesome. And like, I love how you just fully engulf yourself in it from what it sounds like. It definitely sounds like you put all into it. And so, like, what aspects of the industries inspired you the most? Because for somebody who's putting so much into it, what inspired you to do all this in this industry?
Sure. So, I mean, we love entertainment. That, especially Raj, my 3 partners there, we love entertainment, and we know the dollars that it can generate, but we also know that we can make it a very unique, different experience. We can think outside the box with entertainment. It doesn't have to be, Top Golf is amazing. Like, we found the perfect, offering with Top Golf, but, our next venue, it could be arcade. It could
Mhm,
be, bocce ball. There's so many aspects. So the Pandora's box of entertainment we love because it's never a dull moment, but also we can reinvent. And for me, creating is some of the most incredible things that we can do as humans, is creating something and seeing it through. And that invigorates me time and time again when I'm creating something new. That passion and that drive that you have when you're creating something, especially after you've created something and seen it through. I
mm,
think part of that is, so I started a magazine company. It was called Green Tea. It was an acronym. But I started that, and before that, I was either a salary or an hourly employee. So I had never started my own business. I started that magazine with Jason Hicks and Joey, and I'm not going to say it was a failure, because it absolutely wasn't. We were able to start the magazine. We had the launch party. We went the full year. COVID definitely, hindered us. But seeing us be able to talk about the magazine just in conversation, put it on paper, get funding, and then start the magazine. And then we have people like Bobby Wagner, Cliff Averill, Dan, a lot of different Seattle influencers, athletes be a part of it. That showed me that, we can take an idea, we can take a thought, and we can make it, and it's something that's tangible. And, like, with doing that with the magazine, I don't know if I didn't do that, I don't know that I would have that confidence to do it with, somewhere like Forum that we opened, because I hadn't seen the proof in the pudding yet. So I think
mm,
the magazine that I started with Jason and Joey really showed me that I could do it, and that it was possible. And I think, some people could call it a failure because we had to kind of close it up and move on. But that was the best lesson in life. It's never an L, it's a lesson. And, like,
mhm.
starting that magazine showed me that I could do it. I could take our thoughts and ideas, we can make something out of it. So I took that energy, and with Forum, you know what I mean? The
Mm.
momentum was there, and we just had to build on it.
Just listening to you, like you can honestly see the enthusiasm and like passion. Like what keeps that going for yourself? What keeps that drive?
Sure. I think, you have to appreciate it. I think, I grew up very poor. I didn't have a lot. I wasn't a Nepo baby. There was no, hey, go start your own thing. Here's 100 grand. It was, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, for
for
sure.
us who kind of, some may say got it out the mud, but like who
Mm,
we didn't have any of those opportunities and then created those opportunities for ourselves. Like
mm.
there's a level of appreciation that we have that, no offense to other people who have those opportunities. Yo, take
Mm.
advantage of those opportunities. But
Yeah, for
getting it a different way, like it means that much more to us, and it adds, like, so I'll always have that passion because I can appreciate it, and it's never just another thing. It's a huge milestone, a huge accomplishment, everything that we open. So yeah, that passion and that drive, I think, comes from seeing it the first time, seeing us be able to open it, and then like understanding, oh, I can do that again, like that, and it's so gratifying. So the road to opening is such a gratifying process. And then when we want to open a second venue, or we have some other projects on the horizon, knowing that you're going to go back through that process, it's not daunting, it's not scary, it's super invigorating and it's super exciting. So I think that's what keeps it going, is knowing that you get to go through that process again, you get to create again. Man, there's nothing like that feeling in the world.
That's awesome. I appreciate that answer because you can honestly see it, and it's genuine. You can
Yeah.
definitely see that you're passionate about it, and that's huge in itself.
Yep.
I'm gonna circle back to something you brought up earlier, the COVID, obviously, the
Yeah.
COVID closures, and how were you able to manage with the COVID closures and the staffing issues during that time?
Sure. Yeah, it was very scary. So the three of us, we all signed personal guarantees. So we opened this December 2019. COVID happened 3 months later. As you know,
Uh,
you live in the area. COVID started in Kirkland, like as far
yeah,
as
yeah.
U.S. cases. That was the first one. So we were on it, like off the bat. Everyone stays home, social distance, all that good stuff. And this is such uncharted territory. We didn't know what that meant for us. We didn't know
Mhm.
if that meant, okay, your rent keeps going. You're not allowed to have people in there, and you're 3 months from bankruptcy.
Yeah,
Like
too bad.
now,
Yeah.
we had the conversation. Whose home do we have to sell? And it would have been mine because I had the condo. They had homes. Um, and then where are we going to move into? Genuinely
Hmm.
had that conversation of, we were going to sell my condo probably to help us get through this time. And I was going to go live in a garage with one of my partners. That's
Wow,
the kind of conversations, but that's the risk you take as a business owner. But
definitely.
having those conversations was very scary. But thankfully, the landlord understood. We weren't this huge company with a bunch of different units. We were three guys who put our homes on the line, but loved this business and were very passionate about it. So
Mhm.
thankfully, they knew that they were partners. They weren't our landlords only, they were our partners. They were partners in
Definitely.
our success and partners in our journey. So they understood that. They made some concessions best they could. And thankfully, they did that because, that helped us really see the light at the end of the tunnel, along with, obviously, we got PPP and some of those things.
Mhm.
So that helped. I will say, obviously, as you mentioned, the talent search or the labor pool changed drastically. So
Mhm.
our culture from the beginning has always been, we don't treat people like numbers. Our managers aren't talking to you from ivory towers. They're
Mhm.
lead by example managers. And the two things we ask every manager, or really anyone who comes in our company, is that they care, and we can elaborate on that with our employees. But there's a lot of versions of caring, and that they're not that they're open to continued learning. And what that
Mhm.
means is, we don't want managers who have a chip on their shoulder who thinks they know it all. I've been doing this 15 years. Our industry is evolving so constantly that the way you do things Tuesday, might be drastically different on a Friday, right? And obviously not weekly, but it changes so often, and you need to be constantly changing, or the industry is just going to leave you behind. And the people who do change are going to be the ones still profitable, still making it out. So you really have to adapt with change. So again, our culture, I think, was great, But what we saw was a lot of people left our industry, the food and beverage industry, because they were working at a lot of places that don't have that mantra. They
Mm.
treated their employees like numbers. A lot of managers talked down to their employees, treated them like trash. And so we weren't that. So I think we had a little bit easier path because when we first opened in 2019, we had 0% attrition. We had 70 employees. That's
Oh,
unheard of. You
yeah.
usually through a new opening will lose 10 to 15%. So
Mhm.
the fact that we didn't lose any shows that we were on the right track. We were respecting our employees. We're giving them a voice because we have that good balance of, corporate entity with infrastructure. We have an HR team and all that stuff. But we're a mom and pop, and we believe we're not a faceless corporation. We're going to treat you like a human, and we want to be tied to your success, whether it's with our company or thereafter, right? So that's how we treated our employees. But the labor pool was shrinking because a lot of bartenders were like, I'm a real estate agent now.
Mhm.
A lot of
Yeah.
servers were like, yo, I'm a personal trainer now.
Yeah.
I don't even talk to any of these employees or these managers who treated me like crap. And more
Yeah.
power to them. You should get out if that's what you were dealing with.
Mhm.
So that made it difficult because I feel like a lot of people, pivoted and
Mhm.
more, as they should, because my industry, especially food and beverage, it's kind of a transient industry to a small extent where not everyone ends up there. They go there, they get their money, and usually they'll go on to different industries. I say maybe 50-50, not usually, but they're not always going to be there for the long haul. And so I think that's where certain companies kind of wring out their employees for everything they can get out of them,
Mhm.
where we want them to get to where they're going, right? Who am I as an owner or even a manager if I'm holding you back from your life goals just to staff a opening shift? Like
Yeah.
who does that?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, I think the labor pool and keeping talent was difficult because a lot of people pivoted, but I think a lot of people had it harder than we did because of our culture and because we really wanted the best for our team members, both old and new ones coming in.
During that time, did you feel like what were some challenges? Because it seemed like you did obviously a great job during that time, but do you feel like there's any challenges that you faced that helped you adapt to business in the future or anything like that that you feel like during COVID you have made probably had challenges with that have helped you in the future?
Yeah, I think so. Through COVID, you really you learn about yourself, you learn about your grit, you learn about your company. But it definitely, there were certain things like QR menus, right? Like
Mm.
no one had a physical menu because everyone, it's a germ, like,
Mhm. Yeah.
festering germs. So everyone went QR codes. Everyone pivoted to online platforms. The delivery model, tons of people were going to that. So yeah, I think we pivoted to a bigger emphasis on our delivery models, which are still paying dividends to a certain extent. We reinforced our website and a lot of our QR codes and things of that nature to digitize certain things. So I
Mm.
think that helped us a lot in now that we're coming out of COVID, not what and it won't happen again. We took a lot of those things that we learned and we were able to take what worked and have them kind of work for us down the line and obviously take away some of the other things, tables, social distance tables, all that stuff, had from merging back. But there were a lot of lessons that we took and a lot of some of those digital assets that carry over.
Okay, yeah, most definitely. I appreciate the information. So every day, a typical day for Noah. What does that look like to you?
So it greatly.
Excuse me, typical day.
Oh man, I don't think that exists for me, man. I'm dead serious. Like so, like I'm usually up 9 a.m., but I usually work at least from home or when I go in up until about 9 p.m. But so like it really changes because with Forum, I'm usually in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Monday. We're building a new nightclub. We can talk about that in a little bit, but that takes me over there. And then I'm also, another thing we talk about is I'm on the board of a mental health charity. So within the past month to 2 months, it's very sporadic. So one week
Mhm.
could look one way and another week could look very different. But usually it's again, it's about 9 to 9. I get my little breaks in there. I work out, try to get to a 30-minute to an hour workout at least 4 to 5 times a week just to keep my sanity. But yeah, it greatly fluctuates week to week.
I totally get it. Yeah, and especially somebody in the hospitality industry and entertainment, where it's like literally every day is different. I can only imagine.
Yep.
So advice wise, for somebody who's trying to get into the industry, entertainment or hospitality, what advice would you give them?
I guess it really depends what I guess like role you want to get into. I think for an owner, I would say do do it because you love it, do it because you're passionate about it. But I would also say respect whatever craft that you're getting into. And what I mean by that is, especially in my industry, I see just guys with money who'll open a bar and they're like,
Hmm.
man, I want to call myself an owner, I want a bar, I can get girls at bars, like especially if I own it. And it's like, nah, bro, like do it because you love it. You're not gonna have a good business or a good business model if your whole thing is I want to throw money at a bar and open it. Like
Yeah.
for me, before I opened Forum, I went and worked dishwashing shifts just so I could remember what it's
Hmm.
like to work back a house, wash some dishes. So if you're, my advice would be, whatever craft you're getting into, if it is my industry, great, respect it and learn the ins and outs of it before you want to become an owner or even a manager. All of our managers have been a server, a bartender. They've all dealt with a 20 top table who wants split checks, right? So if
Hmm.
you haven't done any of that, like, yo, how are you going to tell other people, like, hey, here's what you need to do? But you've never done it. So what are you going to tell me, right? So that's the beauty of us as owners, but also our management team is we're never going to tell you to do something we've never done. So if
Hmm.
you're getting into this and want to be an owner, show the respect to whoever you bring on board and hone your craft and master it and go work some serving shifts, go be a support staff and clean tables and run in the dish pit for an hour, right? Like that's the ultimate way to respect your industry and respect the team that you're bringing in, is that you've done it and you can speak to it. If you can't
Hmm.
speak to it, take the time and get some experience until you can.
I love that. And that's the thing too. It's like, it's like putting in the effort, and it's almost like people should know this. It's like, treat your staff with respect. That should be a common theme, but it doesn't happen very often. And you
Right.
speak it, you talk about it, and it shows. These people want to work for people like you. So that I commend you for that, and that's huge in itself, man. I truly do.
Thank you.
Um, Real quick, so I want you to talk a little about Forum. Tell people what you offer, what it's like. For somebody who's never walked in, give us a little bit of insight about Forum Social House.
Of course. So Forum is a 20,000 square foot entertainment venue. We're in downtown Bellevue. We're right across from the movie theater on the third floor, Lincoln Square North. A little bit about Forum. We're an entertainment concept, man. So we really run like 4 different operations under one roof. So we have Par One Mini Golf, and that's selfie inspired mini golf that we developed ourselves. So like that's like we were up at 2 a.m. Talking about like, yo, let's get a unicorn, like, and then we powder coated a carousel horse and made it a unicorn, and then that came unicorn polo, where you sit on a unicorn and putt. So that's a big part of it, but you're not going to find it anywhere else. So, that was a big part of the mini golf, is we wanted to convert our guests into brand ambassadors with selfies. And the way you're going to do that is get things like unicorns, and we have a ire throne made out of putters. Get things that people are going to identify you with. So when those people take those pictures and post them, they're going to know where they're at. They're going to know they're at Forum Social House. So we're essentially converting those guests into brand ambassadors, but we also perpetuate an environment where we want people to take pictures. You can go to certain places and you're like, hey, can you take our picture for us? And they're just like, sure, and then take a picture. We want that. We've coached all of our hosts. Yo, we want them to take pictures. If you see 3 people, one of them's taking a picture, can I take a picture with all 3 of you? All 3 of you in it, right? We want to encourage people to take selfies and pictures in our mini golf course. So that was a big part of it. Then we have our Top Golf Swing Suites. So it's an indoor iteration. Some people come and they're like, "How's is Top Golf?" It's indoor. It's swing suites. It's not outdoor, but it's got tech integration. But the beauty of it is you don't have to be a golf purist to play it. Where if you go to the outdoor range, if you're not swinging clubs, where that's kind of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas here, there's zombie dodgeball, there's soccer, there's a lot of different games that kids can play, adults can play, that don't have anything to do with golf. So that's what made us gravitate towards it. It was entertainment first. It wasn't just golf. Being our venue, we're 20,000 square feet in one of the top performing malls in America. We can't just sell to golfers. Like, I'll be bankrupt next month. So we need it to be a wide net. We need it to cater to people who've never touched a golf club. We need to cater to the youth. The older golfers, yes. So there is, full blown. You can go play Pebble Beach, right? So if you are a golf purist, we still, can cater to you. But we also have the other components that don't cater. And then we have our bar, restaurant. So that's mostly in entertainment. The stigma is freezer to fryer food. So we're like, no, we're mostly from scratch. We're coming out with a brand new menu launch that we're going to come out in about a month. And that's going to have a lot of really good new items. But did away with freezer to fryer. And, we did a lot of from scratch cooking. And the same with our cocktail program, where it's outside of the box. It's very different. So that if you ripped up our restaurant and put it in a small little 30 cover restaurant, it's going to succeed. If you ripped up our cocktail bar, you throw it in a footprint like Joey's, it's going to succeed. None of it should be an afterthought. And we made sure that when we were kind of vetting out all of these arms of our company. And then lastly is our nightlife. We have nightlife, and obviously, myself and Roger come from that, are kind of cut from that cloth a bit. So our nightlife experience is great. It's got cryo cannons and, the LED lighting and effects kits that you would see in a lot of the kind of Vegas nightclubs, but in a more condensed setting. So, put all these things together and you have Forum Social House. So again, that's why my day is always different, because there's so many things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you never know what to expect, but yeah, that's Forum Social House, and you should come see us.
Yeah, most definitely. I need to check it out. And that's the thing. It's like I feel like so many people get stuck in tunnel vision. It's either, putt putt, or it's
Yeah.
Top or it's a restaurant. It's like you have
Yeah.
all that there in one spot. So I mean, I think everybody who listens to this needs to check it out, who's in the area. Great guy. You brought up something earlier, and I don't know if you're allowed to say much about it, but upcoming projects you have coming soon or in the near future?
Yeah. So you are the first person that I've announced this to, mainly because we're working on our announcement. So it should be in the next few days. But yeah, so we're opening a brand new nightclub. It's called Vice Seattle. And so
Ooh.
Vice is going to be in Capitol Hill. It's
Okay.
right a block from the Starbucks Reserve Roastery. We're next to Still Liquor. And what's funny is we're going through the build out. So I'm there at least 3 days a week usually. And when we're going through the build out, we see our next door neighbor, and we're like, oh, they're painting the whole, their side pink. It's like a door over. And come to find out, it's the new Voodoo Donuts is coming to Seattle. So
Oh,
they're
that's
they're
awesome.
right next to us. So I'm like, oh,
Oh,
that's
clutch.
amazing. So like, I mean, not for me, I'm going to be super fat,
Yeah,
but like,
party and then yeah.
yeah, and then go get donuts because they're open late. But I was like, man, this is so serendipitous. Like, that's amazing. Like, so yeah,
Yeah.
we're a part of Melrose Market. It's off Minor Ave. And so Friday, Saturday, we're going to be partnering with White Rabbit Fridays. So they do a lot of really cool kind of rave and show bookings in the Seattle area. Saturday is going to be a little bit more homegrown and organic. And it's going to be open format, some party music. Eventually, we will be having stand-up comedy. I love comedy. I've always been a huge fan of comedy. I grew up on comedy. So being able to do that and cultivate a consistent show for stand-up comedy, oh my gosh, man, like I'm the happiest kid ever because I get to do that, man. Like it's just so incredible. So we will have comedy. And then so with those three components, we have Guy, who used to work in Seattle for 10, 12 plus years. Then he came to work in Bellevue, but I couldn't have more faith in him as a managing partner, who's really going to take this space in this venue and just make it incredible. There's no better like architect to do it. So like between the owners and managing partner Guy, like it's just going to be absolutely incredible. So we're looking to open mid-July, and I
Wow.
invite everybody to come out, come check it out. We're also going to partner with Alphabet Hospitality, old friends, great partners with us at Forum, and they're going to do some one-off events too. So like, man, it's going to be absolutely incredible.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks,
That's
man.
awesome. You don't stop, do you?
No, I try not to.
That's awesome, man. That is really cool. Like that I'm super pumped about that.
Thanks,
That's
man. I
really
appreciate it.
cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
gotta check that out too.
please
Gotta hit
do.
all your spots.
And from that, I think I also mentioned, so I'm on the board of a new mental health charity. So it's Mental Health Inside Out. And so I started it with this gentleman named Sean Mitchell. And Sean is just such a dynamo, and his story is so inspiring. Like inspiring is in every sense and letter of that word. Inspiring is who this guy is. So for me, when he presented me the opportunity to be on the board, it was a no-brainer. Like this guy is such an inspiring story, such a good person, and he wants the best for people. And I've dealt with mental health things throughout my family, and so I honestly I feel like everybody, at least through extension of one person extension, or if not someone close to them or their family, deals with certain mental health related issues, and so we really wanted to start something that respected that, and provided ways for us to give back and donate our time, efforts, to really kind of beat the mental health stigma and make
Mhm.
people comfortable having those conversations. And yeah, it's Mental Health Inside Out, and we're really excited to get that rolling. So yeah, a lot of things.
That's huge, man. That's awesome. And like you said, the stigma about mental health is just so tough, especially, men, women, it doesn't matter who, but it's just, you're just told to keep it in. But I think that, just doing that and being a part of that is huge in itself, and making a contribution to others and helping each other out is huge, man. That's awesome.
Thanks,
And
man.
being able to, have time to do something that's also important and helping others, so
Yeah,
that's really,
impact, man. Impact,
yeah.
like it's not lost on me. I talked about like I can appreciate it more because it wasn't handed to me. We worked our way for all these things in this company. But impact, like you want to do things when you have an impact, and the more you have opportunities, the more you carve out opportunities for yourself, the more you have opportunity to make an impact. And so
Mhm.
that's not lost on me that as we start opening more things, and I have more opportunity, is to pass that opportunity down and to make an impact and make it a positive impact. And so
Mhm.
that's not lost on me. And that's definitely a bull that I want to take by the horns and make that impact. And I think Sean's the perfect person to do it. And so, as we have our first event in June, it's going to be a kind of a smaller event at Brand Tejic. It's a place over in Bellevue. Um, but after our first event, man, I'd love to invite you to one of our. We're going to do a fashion show and some other things to benefit mental health, and really our focus is on the youth,
Mhm.
but it's across the board as well. But that's our first kind of focus is the youth, and whether it be juvenile detention centers, but also schools that may not have the resources to staff a therapist, or their counselors and things like that. So we really want to dig into that,
Mhm.
and like I said, have an impact there, and hopefully we're
Mhm.
able to do that.
That's awesome. And like I said, if there's any way I can help, any any websites or any promotions or any events that you guys have in the future, please send them this way. I'll
Mhm.
add it to this podcast also too. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
you will
thank you
definitely
for
get
all
an
you.
invite.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. I don't want to eat up all your time, so real quick, you've given us a lot of information and about business and every day for yourself. What's something that most people wouldn't know about you?
Most people wouldn't know about me. So I went over. Yeah, I was a high school dropout as a kid, man. Not know about me. I was a gymnastics coach. That's pretty random. Like, no, I don't really talk about
Do you
that
have
too
a
much.
background in gymnastics?
Sure don't. Sure don't. But I was
Go
but
over
no,
there and quit.
yeah, no, it was entry level, but I
Okay.
was, a student athlete and all that stuff, and I coached when I was much younger. So that was all really, a cool part of that. But yeah, I would say, I was a gymnastics coach before that. Um, I was born in Hawaii. I'm a quarter Hawaiian, sure don't look like it. Um, and then yeah, I grew up in Springfield, Oregon until I moved out here in 2006. We're actually about to have our 20-year reunion, man. So
Oh wow.
man, the
Yeah,
Grays are coming.
coming fast.
I
Yeah.
know, it's terrifying.
Life goes fast. No, man, I do appreciate you taking the time out to do this podcast. I think you've given a lot of great information, and I love everything you're doing, man. Seriously, like you're a genuine person. That's what I loved about you and why I reached out. I think like ever since we've known each other, like you've always been a good person. You've always put others before yourself. You'd always take care of us anytime we ran into each other. So like I do appreciate you coming on and giving us the time to give us, all that knowledge you have and background too. So
Of
I
course,
do
bro.
appreciate it.
It was absolutely my pleasure. And anytime you need anything, man, I'm here for you. I got you.
Just real quick, how can our listeners connect with you and stay up to date with latest projects and events?
So Forum Social House is on IG, just Forum Social House, all one word. You can also go to our website, forumsocialhouse.com. We got trivia on Wednesdays. We got nightlife on the weekends, so you can find everything there. And then once we launch our website for Vice Seattle, you can see upcoming DJs, upcoming talent, eventually stand-up comedians. And that's going to be all viceseattle.com.
Awesome, dude. Once again, thank you very much. And I'm going to tag all that and put all that information at the bottom for everybody that's interested. Once again, Noah, I love what you're doing, man, and all the success to you in the world, man. You're doing great things out there.
I appreciate you, man. You as well. You're doing big things too, baby.
Yeah, I appreciated the time, man.
All right, brother.
Thanks for tuning in to the Hustler's Handbook podcast. I hope you found today's episode as inspiring and insightful as I did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your fellow hustlers. Keep pushing, keep striving, and remember, the hustle never stops. See you next time.